Good morning, everybody. Roger Marandino with GZ Lures here on Brasilia in Horta, Azores, with a semi-famous human being. I would say famous. With Captain Bonze, finishing up a 7-day trip. I have not had a chance to fish with him yet, but I'm looking forward to it next year. But this boat I've fished on many hours. We're going to go through a little bit of things. He's a little bit of a renaissance man because he has two passions that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's others. But a lure maker and also a captain, was a mate, and fished for many years. So a couple questions we're going to ask you.
Yeah, no problem.
How did you get the sickness? Where did your passion come from?
How did I start? It was when I was 14. My parents moved to a place called the Bay of Islands in New Zealand, which is like the hardest sport fishing in New Zealand. And I just used to see all the marlin come in on the boats, and they weigh them and that, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I went. First time I ever went, man, I was seasick. It was horrible, and I was like, this is not for me. But the same guys convinced me to come again the next trip, and we went out, and I think we had 6 marlin bites, caught a couple of yellowfin, and the owner of the boat said he made these lures, and I was pretty blown away by that. So I went back to school, and I asked my tech teacher, could I make a lure? And they're like, yeah, you can actually do it as a school project. You can make some lures and do a whole project on it. Well, I made one, and I actually sold it to a guy for $20, and he caught a striped marlin on it first day, and that's how I got started. And yeah, and that's led me to the adventures I had. I jumped on a plane, went to Kona, learned there from some of the best guys, and that's how it all started.
So you've been to a lot of the places that I've been to, like Ascension and...
I haven't been to Ascension. That was the one I was supposed to go fish on the Shy, and unfortunately that didn't work out. Exactly. You know exactly the story I'm telling you. Yeah, so I was supposed to go and run that for a season, but I never got the chance. But I'd love to one day, so maybe.
It's such a small community, and I know you have a relationship with Les Gallagher, and can you talk a little bit about that too? Yeah,
well, I went to Cape Verde, and I ran the Happy Hooker there for a few seasons. And while I was there the first season, I met Les and Olaf, obviously. Les was the captain at Andromeda, and he goes, would you like to come up to the Azores once you're finished? And yeah, I couldn't wait to get here. So that's how I ended up coming here, and I fished with Les and Olaf for the first season, and then I came back and fished again for Les. So that's how I ended up in the Azores. It's a pretty amazing place.
All right, so you got to go through it now. Biggest or favorite fish?
Favorite fish? I'd have to say it's probably my first fish I ever saw in Kona. So I was young. I'd never been on a plane in my life, and I bought a ticket, one-way ticket, and I had enough money in my bank for a week in a hotel, and I thought, well, I'm going to go there, walk the dock, and if I don't get a ride on a boat, I'll just come back to New Zealand. So first morning I was down there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and there was one boat with a captain there, and I got talking to him, and he's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm a Kiwi. He's like, oh, do you know such and such? I'm like, yeah, I know him, like his son's one of my, it's such a small world. So anyway, he goes, you want to come fishing? And I was like, I'd love to come fishing. And I was on a boat called the Spellbound with a guy called Captain Mike Rand, and we went out, and I knew nothing about fishing in Kona at all. And we only had 2 rods out. We had a spinning rod, 50-pound spinning rod with braid on it, which I'd never seen before in my life. I thought we were going GT fishing, and a stand-up 50 with braid on as well. This is 20-something years ago, before that was popular. So anyway, he caught a live bait. We fishing off town, put it out on the 50-pound spinning rod. I was like, what are we doing? And trolled for a couple of hours, nothing, and then all of a sudden, bang, out of the clip comes the live bait, and we don't even set the hook on this thing. He just starts going backwards. And I've never been on a boat ride like this in my life. We're going back as hard as he can, and he's driving from the cockpit, and the fish still hadn't jumped. We were in full rack reverse for probably 4 minutes on this thing, big arc, and I'm like, what the heck we even got on here? And he comes up and taps me on the shoulder and goes, are you scared? I'm like, oh yeah, man, like this is my first day in Kona. Anyway, we get back on this thing real quick. He's like, grab the leader, and it's straight piano wire, which I've never seen before in my life either. Anyway, I wrap up on it. Out pops this 500-pound blue marlin with this crazy captain trying to back the boat underneath this fish. And I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, hold on, man. Anyway, I end up breaking the leader on this fish. And he's like, I'm like, oh, that's my career done here in Kona. Yeah. Comes across and slaps me on the back and goes, how badass was that? And that was my first day in Kona. And I ended up working for that captain for 4 seasons and taught me a lot of stuff. So, yeah, that's probably my most memorable fish that I ever caught.
Is there one that has gotten away from you?
Oh,
that gives you,
Yeah, for sure.
good nightmares.
Yeah, good nightmares. It was in Cape Verde, the second season I ran the boat, and I remember we had a day we caught 4 already, and I was like, man, I made this lure. Like, I made a lure called an Inferno, big lure, like this huge thing, like 900 pound. I put double 14s in it and 900 pound leader. And I was like, I'm going to run this thing. I'm going to catch a big fish this year, So anyway, we caught a 4, and I was like, we're down in the east, and we're in a place that I used to call the danger zone, right down off the white stripe. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about, but it's the end.
I've been there, but it's
anyway,
end of Earth. Yeah.
I gave it the danger zone name because we used to get some big fish there. So anyway, we're fishing there, and I was like, man, I'm going to put this lure out. So I put it out. We're going along. I've only been in the water like 20 minutes, and bang, the short comes out. And it's just ticking off, and I'm like, what the heck, man, we got weed on that thing? And then I'm like, no, that reel's got 30 pounds of drag on it, and it's just ticking off. And I'm like, look back here on the rigger, is this, like, I'm like, is a pilot whale or something? And I'm like, it's trying to eat the other lure. I'm like, holy shit, that's what we're hooked to. So I give it some, and we came tight on this thing, and it just comes up, does a couple of lunches, and I'm like, holy shit, man, like, there's a big one right there. So anyway, we got it real quick. In 15 minutes, we had it beside the boat, and I said to the boys, "Let's gaff it. Let's take it. I think this is a good fish to take." Yeah. So anyway, we're so disorganized at this stage. I wasn't prepared to kill a fish, and I had a crew that we couldn't speak English. So my 2 local boys, we struggled to communicate. So anyway, one thing led to another, and we didn't gaff the fish. We played it for another 2 hours. It kicked our ass, man. And anyway, we finally got up on the leader, and the leader rubbed on the boat, and we broke the leader off. But that was the one fish I would have liked to have, definitely liked to have taken. But this fish, and it got away at one. So, but that was a very, very big fish that I think we could have easily taken if we were probably organised. But that's a lesson,
Yeah.
Young captain.
It happens so fast.
Oh yeah.
It happens so fast.
Yeah.
So I mean, are you glad to be back here captaining again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that you come back.
Yeah. It's a lot. I love making lures, but my ultimate passion from where it started is definitely, fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I've done really well on your lures, like the Gremmel with the, I have one of the originals. It's double black, and then the PDK, right, Max?
Oh, BTK, yeah.
Yeah, they got a grander on it here last
year. This boat.
Yeah.
This boat.
On this boat,
yeah. So.
Well, thank you, my friend. I know you're busy. You got to fish today, and it's been a pleasure, and hopefully we get to fish next year.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank you.
All
All right, Max.
Thank you very much.